This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay. Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Welcome everyone to the next edition of Sefer Yoel. We're up to Yoel, Perek Aleph, Pasuk Hey. So the Pasuk Daled, we learned about the onslaught of the locust, about how whatever was left over from the Gazam, the Arba ate, whatever was left over from the Arba, the Yalak ate, whatever was left over from the Yalak, the Chasel ate. So now, you know what that means. When the locust eats the produce, there's not much to eat. But what one suffers from most when there's not produce, of course, is a lack of alcoholic beverages. That's where you feel it. It's one thing you don't have something to eat, but not to have something to drink, a good drink, that's the big problem. So, in Pasuk Hey, the Pasuk says like this: Hakitzu shikairim, wake up, you drunkards, uvechu, and cry out, v'helilu kol shoysei yayin, and wail, all you wine drinkers. Why? Ki nichras al asis, for the crushed wine, ki nichras mipichem, that has been cut off from your mouth. Meaning, now that the grasshoppers now that the locusts have come and attacked, so you don't have any more good drink. Rashi says asis is yein hatoif, the good wine. Says in Mitzudas David, hakitzu shikairim, atem haragilin beyayin. You who are accustomed to wine, his'oiru min hashina, wake up from your sleep, uvechu, and cry out. Al asis, ba'avor ha'asis, because of the crushed wine, asher nichras mipichem, ki ha'arba achal hagafanu meyat lo timtzu hayayin. Okay, so it's very interesting alshach, fascinating alshach. Don't raise your hand, okay? I'm asking a question, but don't answer it. Who here likes wine? Okay, so far you're following instructions very well. Okay. Wine. What is wine? Why did God create wine? The Gemara in Eruvin says God created wine for two purposes. Number one, for the Risha'im, to give them their reward in this world. That people who like wine, God is trying to pay them back in this world so that He doesn't have to give them Olam Haba. That's a pretty frightening thought. In other words, it's better not to like wine. I guess, you're in better shape if you don't like wine. Wine is to repay the wicked in this world. You go to a restaurant and you see this guy, he orders a $120 bottle of wine, because God's paying him back in this world. Save it for the next world. I guess that fits into what Chazal say, that part of the reward of Olam Haba is Yayin HaMeshumar Ba'anavav. There's a special kind of wine that's been preserved in the grape. That's the first function of wine. The other function of wine is to help mourners drown out their loss. This way they drink the wine and they forget about the mourning and their sorrow. In fact, some say that the reason why Noach was planting a vineyard is because it says in Mishlei that you give the sad-hearted wine to drink. So, Noach came, he saw a world destroyed, he saw a churban. So therefore, in order to sort of drown out his sorrow, he planted a vineyard. Okay, be it as it may, says the Alshach, this pasuk is addressing these two categories. Number one, those wicked people who are being repaid for their good with wine, they should cry over their loss. Why? Because now they don't even get schar in this world. So they need to cry. Cry, you drunkards. God is not even paying you back in this world. You're not getting anything. And wail are those who are partaking of wine in order to drown out their sorrows, will have to wail in mourning. Yeah. Okay. There we go.
According to the first shot, because of enjoyment, that Hashem paying them back, such an enjoyment, drink wine.
Yeah. Any enjoyment is in lieu of Olam Haba, but especially wine. Wine is a special enjoyment. There's Ein Simcha Ela B'Yayin. The only thing that gives Simcha on Yom Tif, the only chiyuv of Simcha that we have is wine, not even meat. Meat is not a chiyuv. Meat is only a mitzvah. Wine is a chiyuv. So, okay. Ki goy Allah al arzi. For a nation has come up on my land. Atzum, it is mighty, ve'ein mispar, cannot be counted. And this nation, Shinav Shine Aryeh, its teeth are the teeth of a lion. Umesala ois lavi, and the molars of a lion cub, of a young lion, loy it has. Now, what is this nation that has come on my land that has teeth like a lion? What is the Navi Yoel referring to when he says, a nation has come onto my land? Anybody know? What nation is he referring to? The Japanese, the Italian, North Korea. What is he talking about when he says a nation? The nation are the grasshoppers, the yelek, the locust. They're like a nation, the Mitzudas David says. Ki goy al arbe yoymar belashon she'ela. It's a borrowed term. V'chein sefanim am loy atzam. Sometimes a group of animals could be called a nation. Okay? They have teeth like a lion. So David says, Amar derech guzma, it's a bit of an exaggeration. V'haflagavu inyum malitza, it's an allegory. They don't actually have lion teeth. It means they are so, they have such a great ability to consume. It's as if they have lion's teeth. Okay? Says Rashi, Goy Allah al arzi hagovai hazek, this swarm of locusts, kinu kitzva goy. Umaslois, hena shinayim hagasim, those are the fat teeth, shaloya isbahen, that you chew with. Hence the molar. Okay, some gafni l'shama. He rendered my wine desolate. Useinasi, and my fig liktsafa, a source of despair. He made my fig a source of despair. Chasoif chasafa, he has stripped its bark. V'hishlach, and thrown it. Hilbinu sarigeha, its branches have turned white. Says Mitzudas David, some gafni, achal hagafanim, it ate the grapes, va'asam shmama, made it desolate, va'ateinim, and the figs, some, it made lema'ara uklala, like a curse, chasaf chasafa, that means kalaf klipasa, it peeled its bark, v'nasu ha'anafim levanim, made the branches white, kedach ilan haniklaf. Okay. So this is a very interesting pasuk coming up. Let us just see the Rashi. L'ktsafa lemapach nefesh. It created a source of despair. Chasaf chasafa v'hishlach kilov klifa yishaetz. It peeled peelings of wood v'hishlichu, and it threw it ad helbinu zemoyros hagafen, until it widened the vine branches of grape. Fine. Eli kivsulach hagurasa gabal neureha. What does Eli mean? Like, for example, Tisha B'Av. Eli tziyayin v'yareha kama yisha v'tzureha. Wail. Eli, lament. Kivesula, like a virgin, chagurasak, girded in sackcloth, al bal neureha, over the husband of her youth. Imagine a young couple who are engaged, and they're in the prime of their ability to enjoy each other, and then she loses her husband. That's a very bitter pain. That's a very bitter mourning. So the Navi is saying that you're suffering because of these locusts. Wail like a besula girded with sackcloth for the husband of her youth. Okay, Eli, Kina, Metagamina, and Aliyah. Fine. Says the Mitzudas David, Eli, Asi Kina, make a lament, Kamai Besula, like a Besula Hanises Leish, who's married, Umeis, and the husband dies, Shechagera Sak. She girds herself in sackcloth, and Mekainenes, Ala Bala Nisisla, and she laments the husband that was married to him, that she was wed to, Benurea, Ki Ha'avak Shura B'Yoyser, Ma'abal Shenas Benurea, Kishoy Zadayim Besula. A woman loves the man who she marries when she was a Besula. Fine. Pasuk Rashi. Okay, we saw Rashi. Eli is a kina. Metagmin Elia, fine. Hachras, it has been cut off. Mincha, a meal offering, vanesach, and wine libations, and mibeis Hashem, from the house of God. Avlu hakohanim, the kohanim mourn, Mishar say Hashem, the servants of God. Says the Metzudas David, Hachras. So the minchas have been cut off. Why have the minchas been cut off? There's no produce, so there's no flour, so there's no carbon mincha. Says Metzudas David, Kilay matzu soilas l'menachos. They did not find flour for the menachos, v'yayin, and wine l'nesachim. Ki ha'arba achal hakol, the arba ate everything. Avlu ha'kohanim. The kohanim mourn al ki ein mevi mincha nesachim. No one's bringing the mincha and the libations. Pa Rashi. Hachras kamay nichras. The word hachras is similar to nichras. Fine. Shudad sadeh. Shudad sadeh. The field has been plundered. Avla adama. The earth is mourning. Ki shudad dagan. Because the grain has been plundered. Hayvish tirosh. The wine has dried up. Umlal yitzhar, and the oil has been cut off. Says Metzudas David, Shadat Sada, Nasa Sada, Ki ha'arbe, Ne'ashak Sada, the field has become oppressed, Ki ha'arbe ashak tfuasa. The arbe has oppressed the grain, Hayvish, Nesyavish, Hayayin, Ratzaloimer, Lo yimtza oid yayin. Okay. Hayvishu ikarim. Hayvishu ikarim. Be ashamed, farmers. What's an ikar? With an aleph.
Not in Hebrew, it's a farmer.
Yeah, and also in Lashon Kodesh, it's a farmer. What do you know? Hayvishu ikarim. Be ashamed, farmers. Helilu karmim. Wail, you wine dressers. Do you know what a wine dresser is? Who here knows what a wine dresser is? A vine dresser. You know what a vine dresser is? Karmim are vine dressers.
They take care of the
They take care of the vineyard. Al chita, you should be ashamed for the wheat, the al sa'ir and the barley. Ki avad kitzir sada, the harvest of the field has gone lost. Says Metzudas David, Havishu ikarma ki avaydasam sada hayalarik. All your work, farmers, was for nothing. All of your plowing and planting was for nothing. Was for naught. Karmim oise avodas hakramim. Al chita. Al heder chita, on the absence of wheat. Usara musav al havishu ikarm. This is going back on the beginning of the pasuk. Be ashamed, farmers, because of your lack of wheat. Ki avad ratzolaimer ein maliktzar. Fine. Says the holy Rashi, havishu hicholmu. Be ashamed. Fine. Pasuk Yud Beis. Hagefen havisha. The grape, the wine has dried out. Vateino umlala. And the fig has been cut off. Remain. Now we get to other fruits. See, it's one thing. Wine is a necessity. Wine is a necessity of life. Back in the day, either you drank water or wine. That's it. There was no diet peach Snapple. There was no vitamin water. There was no raspberry flavored seltzer. They didn't have this kind of stuff. They didn't have Diet Dr. Pepper. Either no Coke. They had but they had wine and water. So what were the delicacies if they didn't have peach Snapple? Rimoin, pomegranates, gam tamar, dates, v'sapuach, apples. Kol atzei hasada, all the trees of the field, yaveshu, they dried out. Ki hoivish sasain min b'nei adam. For joy has dried out from people. What does this mean? Says Metzudas David.
They can't live this.
Yeah. Says Metzudas David Pasuk Yud Beis, Hayvisha Ratzaloimar Layim Sa'id. It will not be found. Yevoishu Ratzaloimar. There's no fruit. Ratzaloimar Kol Zehaya B'Hashgacha. This was all divine providence. Ki B'Gmul. As a recompense, Pasuk Hashem Simcha B'nei Adam, God stopped joy from people. V'lechein chasu kalela. Therefore, they were lacking all of this. Okay. So therefore, the Navi says, Chigru, gird yourself, v'siftu, and eulogize hakohanim, priests, helilu, wail, misharsei mizbeach, the servants of the mizbeach, boyu, come, linu and lodge vasakim in your sackcloth. Don't even take it off in the nighttime. Sleep in your sackcloth. Mesharsei Elokai, servants of God. Because the Kohanim feel this very acutely when they see in the Mikdash, there's no Nesachim, and there are no Menachais. Ki nimna mi beis Elokeichem min chavanesech. Now, it seems, again, this is all very repetitive, it seems like. Let us see the Malbim on this pasuk. The Malbim on pasuk Yud Gimel Chigru. Mitzave el ha-kohanim, it's commanding the kohanim sheyichgeru sak letfilah, that they should gird sackcloth for prayer. V'sheyisbedu al hatzar, and they should eulogize for the pain. V'zeh oimer derech klal ha-kohanim. That's speaking in general to the kohanim. V'yatem mefarish, now it's explaining shu medaber el shtei kitos min ha-kohanim. It's speaking to two groups of kohanim. Shekad echad yachgeru sak v'yispalalu. One group should don sackcloth and pray. V'kad acheres yelilu, and another group should wail v'yisbedu, and eulogize k'misyayish, as if someone who has given up hope, in tikva, without any rays of hope. Ki hayu kad kohanim tzadikim b'kavanasam. There was a group of righteous kohanim. Vayu kad kohanim she'rak misharsim mizbeach lasas karbonoisav loy misharse Hashem kifi hakavan haratzuyah. There are two kinds of kohanim. One kohen does the avodah because he wants to serve God. One kohen does the avodah because he enjoys eating meat. There are two kinds of kohanim. Right? There are two people who stand at the grill. People who like to feed others and people who like to feed themselves. So too, there are two kinds of kohanim. People who like to do God's service and people who like to enjoy the karbana, the barbecue. So therefore, we're addressing the two types of kohanim. We say, Helilu. You see, in the pasuk it says, Mesharsei mizbeach. And then it says, Mesharsei Elokai. So there is someone who serves the Mizbeach and someone who serves God. So we say, Helilu Mesharsei mizbeach, She'ela Shem Rak Mesharsei mizbeach, Yelilu K'Mesya'ish Ki Tfilas Meinu Ratzuya. The ones who serve the Mizbeach, they should wail as if somebody who has given up hope, because their tefillah favor is not found with it. But those who serve God, the tzaddikim, they should pray and do tshuva, because their actions could actually turn back the gzeira. Okay, we're going to do one more pasuk, and then I'm going to do something else for the next part. The pasuk says like this, and there's actually a Gemara in Tainus on this pasuk. And the pasuk says like this: Kadeshut Saim, dedicate a fast day. Dedicate a fast day. Decree a fast. Kiru Atzara, call a gathering. Isu Zakanim, gather the elders. Kol Yoshvei Haaretz, all the inhabitants of the earth. Beis Hashem Lekechem, to the house of Hashem your Lord. V'za'aku el Hashem, and cry out to God. Rashi says, Kitshut Saim, Hizminut Saim, decree a fast. Atzara Asifa. Says Mitzudas David, Kitshut Saim, Hizminu Yom Saim. Call out publicly to fast. Kiru Atzaras, cry out to gather in the house of the Lord. So there's actually a Gemara in Tainus on Daf Yud Beis Amud Beis on this pasuk. Let's see. Is it? Oh. So the Gemara says like this. Gemara says that on certain fast days, they're not to do malacha. It's asr b'malacha. So Gemara says, why can't do malacha? Malacha is a tsar. Nobody enjoys work. You should be allowed to do malacha on a tainus. So Rav Chizda, in the name of Yirmiyah bar Abba, said, there's a pasuk in Yoel, Kid Shut Soim, Kiro Atzara, decree a fast, make a gathering, Isfu Zakenim. So we're comparing a fast to an Atzeres. It says, Kid Shut Soim, Kiro Atzara. So it's like Atzeres, just like on Shmini Atzeres you're not to do malacha, so too on the fast you're not to do malacha. So Gemara says, well, just like Shmini Atzeres starts the night before, or just like Shavuot starts the night before, so too the fast should start the night before. No, it says Isfu Zakenim. Just like the Zakenim are during the day, they gather during the day, the fast is during the day. So Gemara asks, well, maybe it's in the afternoon, because the Zakenim don't gather until the afternoon. Some Rav Shisha, Breid Ravidi, this is a proof that they gather in the morning. So Tosfos says, V'tema, amai oichlem v'shoysim b'ayid yoim. Why are you allowed to eat and drink while it's still day? But you're not allowed to eat at night. You should be allowed to eat during the day because the Zakanim gather during the day. In other words, if we're learning out it says Kitshut Soim, Kiro Atzara, Isu Zakanim, just like Atzeres. Atzeres is Asr Malacha, Tainus is also Asr Malacha. So if Shmini Atzeres begins the night before, the Tainus should also begin the night before. So Gemara says, no, like the gathering of the Zakanim. Right, the Gemara is trying to learn out. It says malacha you're not to do. Why? Because it says kiru atzara, just like Shmini Atzer. So the Gemara has a kasha. Atzeres is meyorta, avtainus nami meyorta. Meaning you shouldn't be allowed to do malacha. So the Gemara says, no, you're allowed to do malacha. So why are you not allowed to eat? So we're only learning out fasting from the gathering for asiyas malacha. But achila is not mentioned in the pasuk, so it sounds like you can't even eat the night before. Okay, so let's hold it over here, and Yoel, I want to tell you something in Yana de Yaima.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.